Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Positive Change Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron.
And I'm Camille.
Today, we are going to be talking about setting goals and building healthy habits.
Let's get positive.
So, we can't really think of anything that has happened to us this week that can really relate to setting, healthy habits or building or setting your goals or anything like that. So, really, it's more just of a tip of any habits that you currently have, just assess them and if you can build upon them to do that and to always be evolving or adapting those habits that you already currently have. So, we will be starting off the day or the podcast, as we always do, with a quote. The quote is, "You need a plan to build a house. To build a life, it is even more important to have a plan or goal." And that is by Zig Ziglar. I think that's pretty important. I think it is important to have a goal for your life because without a goal, you have no purpose or direction to kind of point yourself. So I think it is important to plan ahead in your life, whether that's setting goals for 6 months or 6 years. I mean, it can be any amount of time. I think for me right now, I have very basic plans that can build into bigger things. So, my basic plans that I have right now are to finish school, to get into a job in the career field that I'm looking at so that I can gain the experience and move down the road. And then that's like a career type goal. And then I also have a family type goal where we can get our own house, where we can, pay off the car. We have so many things that we can do and just basic little goals. But I think it's also important to get very specific on certain goals. So I have another goal. I want to start a business at some point in my life. And honing in on that, it's like trying to figure out what type of business I want to start, uh, like field wise, and then also like if it's going to be a owner operator business. I mean, there's so many things that can go into it, and I just want to make sure that like that's also a very important part of setting goals is having the general all-round ones and the specific goals that you set and plan. So we can kind of talk about what it means to set a goal and give some tips on what to do when setting a goal and how to kind of plan for that. Yeah. So, as we were talking about, there's short-term goals, which can be anything from a week, 2 weeks, couple months, anything like that. And then there's going to be your long-term goals. And long-term goals are more going to be multiple years in the future, 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years. Um, and they are both important because your short-term goals can often be building blocks to your long-term goals. So I've been talking a lot. What are your thoughts on developing goals?
I think goals are important. I think they um, help us push ourselves to be better and to also dream.
Mm.
I think goals are there to be the pusher, or in a way yourself the pusher, to achieve what you want to do and what you want to and who you want to be. And goals can in a way be only career based, but I think you have to do them in all areas. It just can't be you have only goals that are career based. You need to have goals that spread across um everything. And I think sometimes we forget to do all the other places that we need to put goals in,
Mhm.
and we more focus on financial or career based
Mhm.
goals instead of focusing on all the other things that are there
Mhm.
that we also need to achieve. Because just having a career and just just having finance goals are not gonna help develop who you are.
Mhm.
It's more of a external, um what is the word, external, like, perception, or very, what is the word for, like, a facade almost of a person, your shell of a person. There is no
Without
per
them.
without the whole, all the other things that you have to build
Mm.
other things for yourself.
Gotcha. I was listening to a Tony Robbins podcast, and I think it kind of goes pretty well with this. It was, I can't remember who it was with, but it was with a uh successful businessman, and he talked about a lot of the same general things. He had his business type goals, but then along with that, he also had his personal and like family type goals. And he created this family motto, I guess you could say, and a family plan, which I think is pretty cool. He basically sat down with his family. They all created individual goals, and then all together they came and took those individual goals to create a family plan and to create family goals,
Mm-hmm.
as well as like family expectations, consequences, and it's just, it was very cool to see that and to think, hey, if I did that, maybe that could also help out with my family to keep us all on kind of a good track. So that's one idea that I've been having, just to help us to possibly put us on something where we're all on the same page rather than you have your goals, I have
Mm-hmm.
mine, and then maybe some of them overlap. It's like I want all of our goals to be known,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're individual goals. Like you have yours, I have mine, but I want us to be working in unison to complete family type goals so
Mm-hmm.
that those can also build up our individual goals.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But there are 7 steps to setting a goal.
Mm-hmm.
The first is figuring out what your goals are, which
Correct.
is a very, very important part because if you don't know what your goal is, then you can't really set that goal.
Yep.
So figuring out what your goal is, writing your goals down is
Where
the
you
second.
can see them.
Mhm.
Don't put them where you're not gonna see them.
Yeah, put them somewhere, whether it's visible where you write it down and put it up on a wall, or whether it's something that's,
Like
you
a,
know, that it's going to be in your phone and you're going to look at it at all, like all the time, or you're going to be able to see it.
yeah, or, it's like, I used to in high school. I used to keep a goal journal,
Mm.
and it sat on my nightstand. And um because there are certain types of goals that you can, like, when you finish it, you can mark it off, and there are other goals that you can't measure when you've finished it, because it's just based on how you feel. Like if you feel like you've achieved that goal.
Mm.
So I would always, like, at night, because I was a big reader,
Mhm.
before I started reading a book or whatever, that was the first thing I opened and would look through the goals, short term and my long term, to see, have I accomplished any of my short term goals? Have I accomplished any of my long term goals? Uh, what can I do to kind of achieve more of my short term goals? And how can I, in turn, also use those achievements to push into achieving my long-term goals.
I would always keep a piece of paper that had all of my goals in it, and it was in my wallet at
Mm-hmm.
all times. And I started that when I was like 13,
Mm-hmm.
and I still to this day do it. I have a list of goals that are in my wallet, so it's on my person most of the time. But when I need a little bit of guidance and I feel a little lost, I will take that list out and I will look at it and I will say, okay, these are the things that I feel that I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
or that I have been working on, and these are the ones that I feel like I've been neglecting.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to start focusing and evenly spreading my time across
Mm-hmm.
these goals
Yeah.
because I'm at a good place at these goals right now. And it kind of helps me correct where I've been and where I need to go. So, yeah. And then number 3 is consider how you'll measure your goals. So, taking into consideration a couple different things when it comes to goal or like considering the measurements of it is time frame,
Mm-hmm.
reality versus fictional goals.
Mm-hmm.
I also think a big one that you can throw in there is who's going to be a part of that goal
Yeah.
or who you're going to need,
Mm-hmm.
what support system you're going to need for it. And then financial.
Mm-hmm.
I think financial is an important part of every single goal because some goals require monetary, some require emotional investment, some require spiritual investment, physical investment, and it just takes,
Yeah.
time on every single aspect. So knowing time, knowing support system, knowing financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you need is very important
Yeah.
because if you don't set those standards, your goal isn't exactly set up for failure, but it's going to be a little bit more of a struggle to
Mm-hmm.
keep that goal going. So, then number 4 is prepare for potential obstacles. You want to touch on that one?
Um, preparing on potential obstacles. Now you can't always plan for like random ones, but you can, for instance, if you've set a goal to, you want to buy a house or buy a car, whatever it is, you have to also keep in mind that there might be some financial, like you can't make it a short-term goal
Mm-hmm.
because if you make it a short-term goal, then you're going to stress yourself out
Yeah.
because you're going to put so much pressure on the finance aspect and on your uh physical and emotional well-being to push yourself to work as much as you possibly can, neglect things about yourself to achieve that goal, but in turn, that doesn't help you
Mm-hmm.
in the long run. So, preparing for potential obstacles in sense means understanding that you may not be able to achieve that goal in the time frame you want it
Mm-hmm.
and knowing what things can come with that.
Mm-hmm.
uh Maybe I won't get paid the amount I need to for this month or this week or whatever it may be. um Maybe I can't find a place as soon, like that soon. Maybe I can't find a car that soon, in or in a more personal level, more so toward yourself, saying I you pick one attribute that you would like to work on, and it's, say you have a hard time coping with uh criticism and you want to achieve that goal. For me personally, I can't achieve that goal short term. It's a long term goal for me because criticism is a very hard thing to be willing to let it not slide, like, not slide, but to be able to take that and in turn make it so that you can become better.
Mm.
So, understanding that there are going to still be days that you can't handle the criticism and it could push your goal further. But it doesn't mean that your goal is not going to be not there.
I think that also kind of leads into the next one. But before I touch on that, I think that you can prepare yourself for obstacles even if they are unseen, but that's where having more of the mindset shift
Mm-hmm.
from having a negative mindset into a positive mindset, which we talked about a couple episodes ago. But having that positive mindset is very important in goal planning and also while going through trying to succeed with that goal. Because when you have those obstacles, when you have those setbacks, you're not letting that overcome and cancel out your
Mm-hmm.
goal. You're allowing yourself to know that even though you have this obstacle, you can get around it and continue to finish your
Mm-hmm.
goal. And that really leads into the next one, which is setting a timeline for that goal. And it's important to be able to set a realistic timeline on that because each goal is going to have its own basis of how long it's going to take.
Mm-hmm.
And a house is probably going to take a lot longer than a car
Mm-hmm.
because your down payment's going to have to be bigger. You're going to have, certain credit requirements and all these other things. Whereas a car may take a little bit shorter of a time because sometimes the down payment doesn't have to be as much.
Mm-hmm.
Your credit score doesn't have to be as amazing as getting a house. I mean, I can't speak personally. I've never bought a house personally, but I have bought two cars. I understand that. And so knowing the timeline behind your goal is important so that you can realistically know what to expect.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you don't know what to expect because you've never done it before, ask someone who has or research it. And if you can't find anything, then realistically set a goal that you think or a timeline that you think that goal can be achieved in,
Mm-hmm.
and then be prepared to either extend or shorten that timeline if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Because it never hurts to have to move forward on a timeline or move back on a timeline as long as you're still working towards achieving that
Mm-hmm.
goal. I know people who have gotten their bachelor's degree in 3 years. I know people who have gotten their bachelor's degree in 10 years. Same
Depends on.
goal, different timeline,
Yep.
depends on circumstances, depends on knowledge of the situation and the goal that you've planned. I mean, there's so many variables that you could talk about, but always being willing to be flexible in that, but still having the attitude that this is my goal and I am going to achieve it, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how long it takes, but still hustling and working hard to achieve that goal in the timeline that you've set.
Yep.
So, and then creating a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have the makings of that whole plan. You have the goal, you have the timeline, you have the, I guess, people, things, expectations of what that goal needs.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to throw together your plan on how that goal is going to be done. So you put together a basic plan, you write this down, you have someone there who's going to be your support group, you have someone who's going to be the person who is like, hey, have you done this already? Have you done this part in your goal? It's the same thing if you're setting a weight loss goal. You typically have an advocate who's going to be there, who's pushing you along the way, saying, hey, have you met your 10-pound mark at 3 weeks? Have you met your, you know, gained this amount of muscle? Have you gained or have you lowered your BMI? Have you just all of these different things? And it's the same with any other type of goal. whether that person is you who's checking yourself or you have a loved one or, a friend, anybody like that. And you create this plan that's revolved all around this goal so that you can set yourself up for success.
Yep.
Anything to add on that?
Nope.
Okay. And then, probably one of the most important parts, monitoring the progress as you go along. And I think rewinding a little bit, monitoring the progress and being willing to adapt to that progress
Yeah.
in the sense of shortening or extending the timeline that you had set. I think these are also really good steps to building healthy habits.
Yep.
I think I've said it on this podcast before, but it takes 30 days to build a healthy habit.
Takes 30 days to break an unhealthy habit.
Sometimes longer. Just depends on how unhealthy. But I've always found that breaking things is a lot easier than building things, but building things takes a lot more consistency and determination.
Yep.
Whereas breaking the bad habit is willpower and self motivation in a sense. I mean, they both take that, but I think those are the main topics for both of those two. But building up healthy habits can be anything from going on a jog in the morning, can be anything from not drinking soda, can be anything from drinking enough water, eating healthy foods,
It
working out.
could not even be that. It could be unhealthy habits in the sense of you're sleeping in too much, or you're sleeping too little, you're sleeping, yeah, too little, or you're not going to your dentist appointments regularly. You're not taking care of your body in the way you're supposed to be, like going and doing your routine checkups with your doctor, making sure that you're healthy, this, that, and the other. It, uh, mentally, anything like that. Um, there are similarities to setting goals and building healthy habits, but there are some steps that are very different. Just because when it comes to building healthy habits, you have to know what the unhealthy habit is to then in turn try to break it.
Yeah, but it's not always about breaking an unhealthy habit because you may not have an unhealthy habit, but you may have something that you want to start doing. And it may not be that you have anything that's negative affecting you, but you may just want to, you notice that this could possibly improve your life and you want to do it. So for me, it's like, I don't exactly have a bad habit about like not reading, but I know that it could affect my life in a very big way if I did read. And so I want to kind of set a goal. I'm not sure exactly what that goal is yet, but I do plan on setting a goal that I want to read more. I want to self-educate in the sense of reading as much about things from money to healthy lifestyles to, I mean, there's a number of different things. So, but it's that type of thing, is being motivated to create these healthy habits in yourself and then filling your time with those certain activities or those certain habits so that, again, you're setting yourself up for success. So building healthy habits and setting goals are not all that different, but they do require, I mean, the basics to them is they require effort,
Yep.
they require planning, and they require consistency.
Yep.
Denzel Washington said that basically the biggest parts of creating these habits, creating plans, is consistency and determination. And I completely agree with it because if you are not consistent with your things, then you're going to fall out of it. But if you are not determined and you do not stay on that path, then you're also going to fall out of it
Yep.
because the determination factor is the difference between saying, oh, it's just one day, I'll do it again tomorrow, and saying, no, I'm going to do it today and I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then the consistency factor is you saying, hey, I did it yesterday. I need to also do it today. I need to do it tomorrow. I need to do it the next day. And I need to just keep repeating that until it becomes secondhand nature, muscle memory. And you just keep doing it.
Mhm. I think my one thing though is like, while they do go hand in hand, I do think that setting goals and healthy habits are very different.
I think there's a lot of
There are
differences
a
to
lot
them.
of differences because, in my mind, setting goals is more so something that you want to obtain goal wise, like achieving goal wise. Healthy habit is something that's just gonna, you're altering your lifestyle, not really setting a goal. You're just trying to switch out.
Well, but I think that you can also set a goal to create those or that
Yeah.
certain healthy habit. But I agree with you. I think habits are more changing your life in a sense of changing it for the good,
Hmm.
whereas setting a goal is something that is achievable. And I believe that most goals, not all goals, but most goals are going to be a one time achievable thing. Whereas a healthy habit is a repetitive,
Hmm.
every day, every
Change.
week
Yep.
type of change in your life. But a goal, yeah, I do agree with that. I think that
Hmm.
goals and habits do have differences, but I believe there's some similarities
Yeah.
between the two. I think it's more the building processes of them both are the similarities. I don't think the actual actions themselves are the same.
Yeah.
So,
Just a couple um when it comes to doing healthy habits. Um some of the things are just like identifying the unhealthy habit or trigger.
mhm,
Um plan to identify or do identify. Then change your surroundings. If it's an unhealthy habit in the sense of you surround yourself with not the best people
mhm,
or toxic
mhm,
people in your life and it brings you down, change your surrounding. If you want to make your life better or you want to feel better about yourself and the way you choose to live, it's probably time to change your surroundings
mhm,
and to surround yourself with people who are going to uplift you instead of tear you down.
mhm.
Um, ask for support. Ask those who do love and care about you, hey, would you support me in doing this or whatever it may be?
Or ask the people who are living that habit
Mm-hmm.
how they did it.
Yeah.
Because maybe it may be a hard habit to start and it may be something that you need some help or some guidance on.
Yeah. The other one is fill your time with healthy activities.
Mhm,
So, in a sense, in my mind, when I think about healthy habits, I kind of go mental, just mentally. Um, unhealthy habits, this might be a lot for some people, but unhealthy habits in the sense of tearing your own self down in your mind, um, self harming,
mhm,
uh, not taking care of yourself, uh, just things like that. And in turn, doing healthy activities in the sense of your what you would be doing at that same time, do things where you look at yourself in the mirror and you say good things. Or when you notice yourself start to go down, spiraling, you get yourself out of the house or you do something that you used to love doing, but you stopped doing it because of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You replace
Mm-hmm.
what you were doing previously. Track your progress is the same thing. Imagine the future, what it will look like in the future if you continue this healthy habit. Uh, Reward yourself. And I mean, it's the same thing for weight loss, for every healthy habit. It is don't not reward yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you don't reward yourself, sometimes the unhealthy habit will come back.
Well, and I think that's another part of, or another similarity in goal setting and building
Mm-hmm.
healthy habits is the reward aspect. Because if you create a goal, there also needs to be a reward at the end of that goal because you achieved something that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
You achieved something that was set by you that you knew you wanted and needed. So you do. You need to reward yourself, whether that's going out to dinner, whether that's going on a vacation, whether that's eating a cheeseburger. I mean, it could be so many different rewards,
I know
little or big.
I know some people like when it came to weight loss, when they met a certain goal, like I have this, I can lift this amount of weight, I've lost this much weight, but I gained this much muscle or whatever it may be, that they've set certain goals. Like some women I know, it's like they set a goal that's very easy to do for the first couple weeks, and the goal is like I want to be able to lift this amount of weight. Once I meet that goal, then I will buy a new an outfit or a pair of shoes. Or some women, the very end goal is like the most expensive thing that they've been wanting for the longest time. And when they finally achieve their full goal, that's what they reward themselves with. Which I'm like, if there's something that you're like, you really want it, but you want to be able to work for it,
Mm-hmm.
it's a way for you to work for it.
Yeah.
The other thing is be patient. Just like
Probably one of the most
setting
important things.
setting goals, be patient.
Yeah.
Don't get frustrated with yourself because it's not happening fast enough.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to happen fast.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Just like every other thing we talk about in past episodes, it's a process. It's not supposed to be a one and done, you get it done kind of thing. Yes, some goals can be a one and done, fast and easy, but those are short term goals. Your long term goals are not going to be fast and easy. They're going to take time and they're going to take effort and they're going to sometimes drain you. But
Yeah.
but that shouldn't negate achieving it
Yeah.
or doing it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that oftentimes we get so caught up in ourselves and we get so caught up in our situations that we choose to leave goals and habits that we've set behind and we just kind of forget about them, and it becomes a difficulty for us because then we have to set a new goal or we have to find that past goal that we had that we now have to restart, or we have to find a new pathway for
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's important to stay the course, stay on the plans that you've set. Start with one goal. Start with one single little goal that you can achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd recommend starting with something that can be achieved quick, because when you achieve a goal, and it's just, even if it's a quick goal or something like that, and you have a reward system in place for it, it becomes infectious. And
Mm-hmm.
you want to set another goal and you want to
Mm-hmm.
achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to set another one and you want to achieve that one. Because when you achieve something and you achieve something that you yourself planned out and that you yourself are being responsible for, it makes you want to grow even more
Yeah,
and become even
better.
better.
Mm-hmm.
Better version of yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're not a bad person right now. You're not a bad
No,
You
you're
know,
just
you
you're
just you have certain goals that you want to complete. You have certain ideals and ideas for what you want in your life, and you just got to work towards them. That's all it comes down to. Work towards them, and as long as you work towards those, you will be happy and you will be having struggles in your life, but they will be struggles that will be worth it in the end game. So, we have a challenge for you, and that's just to go through this week looking for a goal that you can set, looking for unhealthy habits that you have that you can turn into healthy habits.
just one. Just one.
Yeah. And I mean maybe you'll probably notice a couple, but just choose one to work on.
Just one.
And do the steps that we've told you in this episode and just plan out a game or make a game plan to tackle that. Whether it's setting the goal that you need to, starting the or taking the initiative to start that healthy habit and to build upon it, become better, and it'll all work out in the end as long as you stay dedicated and be patient. Patience is so important in this process.
It's very important. It's very important in any of the past episodes as well that we've talked about. All of them require patience and being patient with yourself and patient with others.
Yeah.
Um, just because the world is its own um, biosphere, it's its own ecosystem, and sometimes you have to be patient.
Mhm.
Um, it is like
The world
gardening.
has its own ideas. I mean, one of my favorite quotes is life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to know everything that's going to happen, but you can plan the best that you can and then expect the unexpected so that you'll never be disappointed and you'll always be willing to change.
Yep.
So, and then our next episode,
Is my favorite episode.
I think it's also going to be a toughie because it's something that I definitely struggle with.
I do too.
But we're going to be talking about self-care as well as managing stress. Managing stress is very, very difficult for me, and I don't really treat myself very much because I'm always doing something that is taking away time from me focusing on myself. And so next week we will be diving really into some tips, some tricks, things that we ourselves have either found have helped with us or things that we're going to try to kind of help us out with stress as well as some ideas for positive self-care in our personal lives and in your lives. So, as always, if you guys have any questions or anything that you want us to talk about, leave a comment down in this video or reach out to us on TikTok or Instagram. We are always willing to answer back and we love hearing from you guys. So, we're excited as always and we're thankful and grateful for you guys. So, we hope you join us next time and we love you and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.